Here is a country of great contrast.
Great civilization of antiquity.
A foreign country a step away.
All right, we're back. It's the Casa de Cavazos. Justin in Chicago, Nathan in Wesco, Texas, Ada in Harlingen, Texas, providing that Tejano connection to reality. How's it going? What's up? Nathan, I heard you had a revelation, a basketball revelation.
Yes, I did, but right now I'm just enjoying my old fashioned. I'll let Ada talk first.
I don't know. I mean, what's going on with me is today I was making myself bleed. I used a lancet to draw blood from my finger because I'm doing some lab work.
For your diabetes?
Yeah, I needed to make sure that I wasn't diabetic recently, which was confirmed that I'm not. But I'm now doing another more extensive set of testing specifically to check where my hormones are at, whether or not I'm definitely low on estrogen, thyroid testing, stuff like that. So yeah, that's fun times. Like, I don't understand how diabetics are able to prick themselves like that. It's not fun.
Were you doing all of this during the Warriors game last night?
I did not, because usually you have to draw the blood in the morning, and I also have to do saliva collection throughout the day. So no.
Any stool samples?
No stool samples were involved in this particular collection.
Okay. Are we ready to talk about basketball now?
We're ready the whole
Sure.
time.
So who watched the game? Just me and Ada?
I watched some of it.
I saw the highlights. I saw the YouTube highlights.
So you saw that LeBron almost died in the first quarter?
Yeah, I didn't see what happened after, though. I saw the fall, and I heard Kevin Harlan saying, LeBron is down.
I mean, doesn't that happen like every fifth game that LeBron looks like he has a major injury?
No, it was really bad. He was like face down. I was like, oh, man, he's really hurt. I was like, I got to put this in the chat.
What hit him?
He just ran into somebody, but it's I don't know. It's just unclear what hurt him so much. I was telling my wife, I was like, I don't know, maybe just like he has these extreme pain receptors and maybe we're calling him a baby and actually everything hurts him. Or he's just a really bad faker. One or the other.
He's a drama queen. There have been videos showing that sometimes he flops before he's even touched.
I don't know. I feel like there are some huge guys that are throwing elbows out there sometimes.
He literally ran into Kuminga and then he just like immediately went down.
I mean, Kuminga's a sturdy dude.
So imagine when he like does a fake flop. Look at how dramatic that is. So of course, like a real hit, it's like, oh my God, he's dying.
Yeah, I thought he was out for the season.
You can't even comment on him anymore. Like, you have to wait like 15 minutes to determine if he had a real injury.
Yeah, after the TV timeout, he was smiling on the bench already, so.
Yeah, he looked fine the rest of the way.
I don't know, maybe the wind got knocked out of him.
I don't know. He was like banging his hand on the floor and stuff. Like something really bad had happened.
A ruptured spleen.
That being said, Golden State looked a lot better as compared to how they played versus Denver.
I think I was right when I said that game that they probably just ran out of gas from putting out so much effort. But I think last night's game is where you saw that the reason why Butler was a good move is that he doesn't have to do anything on offense for that team. He literally did not care about the ball for the first about 40 minutes of the game. He hit a couple of shots when they needed them, and that was about it. It's going to be really hard for these other teams to deal with them now that Steph is free to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he has good vibes too. He's a huge leader, a great competitor, and that shows in the defensive effort. I think in a way, Draymond is also rejuvenated defensively for the Warriors, so that can't be overstated.
Or it could just be a good matchup for Golden State. Maybe the Lakers just are not very good, and Golden State matches up well.
I don't think that's the take here because when the two have played together, they are now 19-2.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Steph and Butler.
Yeah, any games that they played together, they're 19-2.
Speaking of rejuvenation, like maybe that is correct about Draymond because he actually hit a three. I was like, whoa, Draymond hit a three?
It's not like he has this horrible percentage.
Actually,
he looks horrible doing it.
They were saying last night that he's been in a pretty bad slump, but he actually was 2 of 4, I believe, in last night's game.
I expect him to miss more often.
So the reason I ask about a revelation about the beginning of the episode is that you texted us that maybe there is a path to the Western Conference Finals for the Warriors. What changed?
Everything changed last night. I mean, it's just crazy to me that they got this superstar player who can literally just function as a decoy for them, and he can harass the other team's best player. we all know that Kerr's been a really good coach this whole time. The way they scheme things, Luka looked really bad for the majority of this game. Had Austin Reeves not caught fire late in the game, I mean, the score wouldn't have looked the way it did. So I'm not really worried about the Lakers for them. To me, the only way they're going to lose is if they draw OKC. And at this point, they're one game back in the loss column with a 3 seed. So anything's possible now. So, I mean, what matchup do you really see out there now where you're like, oh, this is a bad matchup for them?
Denver.
I would worry about Denver's size. I would worry about Minnesota's size. I don't know. I feel like Minnesota lost that defensive flair on the perimeter, but they still got the length.
I think you're forgetting about playoff Jimmy, though.
I never forget about him.
Who's going to defend Jokic, though?
James Butler.
James Butler's going to defend Jokic?
Maybe.
They got Kuminga back. They still have Looney. Like, they're getting healthy at the right time as well.
Yeah.
So I find it really interesting that they were actually able to, in this game that was very important to both teams, to actually get a few minutes in at the end of the third quarter with Butler and Curry on the bench, and they still did really well. The Lakers could not do that. Like, they don't have the depth.
Yeah, forget about Steph versus LeBron. Let's see Podzemski versus Reeves, round 2.
Yeah, he went off. He had a really good game.
What does it look like when Luka isn't playing like he did in this game?
When he isn't playing, what do you mean? When he's playing well?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I don't like about them right now. I've seen them. So when they're playing well, they're playing with 3 players, which is just ISOing LeBron, Luka, or Reeves. So I'm still not a fan of what they're doing. I understand why people want to say they could win a championship, and it's just because of name recognition. When it comes down to it, Golden State's actions last night were a lot better than what the Lakers were doing.
Yeah. On offense and on defense, they look spry. They look like, I don't know, they're turning on at the right time. That defense is switching really nicely. Speaking of switching, did you all see that the Nintendo Switch 2 finally had a release date announced?
Yes, I saw it, and I'm very disappointed with the other news you shared today.
Yeah, but that's for later. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
That's why I said other news.
So Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be coming out on June 5th of this year, all over the world, which will be, 2017 was when the last Switch came out. So 8 years since then, which is way longer than a lot of these console manufacturers will take between consoles most of the time. So they've had a lot of time to refresh it. They've got some cool ideas. They've got that 720p screen on it, now 1080p. It's higher resolution LCD panel on it. They got Joy-Cons that are like little gaming mice. That who knows if people would use it. I don't know, Ada, does that interest you at all?
I have almost no interest in the product at this time.
But don't you have multiple Switches?
I have one Nintendo Switch, and I don't think it's been used for a while.
I'm done with multiples. We have 3 here.
What the heck?
Well, it's going to be really nice because they have this whole game sharing program that's going to happen, where basically if you have the game on one of the platforms like the Nintendo Switch 2, you can just play it locally on all the other Switches with your family members.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's a way to save money, considering the fact that it costs like $450 in the US, and games might be like $80 or $90.
That's a lot of quiche.
I don't get why they went so high. Before we went on this pod, and we had to put this up as a topic, like the initial things were like unlikely would be anything over 400
For the
And that's one
console,
of the
right?
first, yeah. So that was weird. And then I saw the cost of the games. I was like, oh man, that's not good. So I mean, I don't know.
Maybe they were anticipating something that was going to happen.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, but I don't know. Like we had this conversation. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast super early on, but all these console manufacturers tend to sell these systems at a loss, and they try to make that money back with first-party software or through some collection of sales through their digital storefronts. Making games is expensive. Making and developing hardware is super expensive, especially when it's a mobile piece of hardware. Like mobile hardware has a premium. Like the specs that you will get on a laptop will cost you way more than those same specs on a desktop computer. 100% of the time. It's all like trying to miniaturize it, trying to make sure that it's efficient, that cooling works properly. Plus, you have this weird modular thing with the magnets and the Joy-Cons and redesigning that. That takes time. That takes money. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're still going to be selling that console at a loss, even at that price point.
I don't have a problem with the price of the console, especially when it's docked. It can output 4K. I don't know if it's a true 4K, but regardless, I think the game price is a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't mind paying 60 for launch titles, but usually when I pony up anything more than 60, it's for a collector's edition or some bonus. If you're telling me it's $80, $90 for just the standard edition, it's a little bit hard for me to justify that.
Yeah, it's really rough. This video game economy is super rough, and these teams just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the timelines are longer and longer and longer, and then the game still ends up costing the same. So I don't know if they're just trying to do a price adjustment based on knowing that they're putting a lot of time and work into this kind of thing. But that is a really tough pill to swallow. That, I don't know, Mario Kart. I don't know how often you play Mario Kart, but I feel like I play Mario Kart like once every couple of months. Like, is that worth $80 to me?
I definitely don't play that one enough, but I will probably get it just because I really want to play the new FromSoft game,
The Dusk Bloods.
So, yeah, so I'll definitely get that. Even if I have to buy you a Switch too, so you can play with me.
I'll accept that offer. It was so interesting because like everyone seeing that trailer when they were live reacting, they're like, "Is this like Bloodborne?" But I think Sony still owns the IP for Bloodborne, so like it's distinct in some way. It's like steampunk. It's a little bit later from like the Victorian Gothic era, so it's not quite Bloodborne, but there's like vampires. But there's a lot of cool stuff on that Nintendo Switch 2. It's kind of a shame that the price point is as high as it is. And I'm just going to play the devil's advocate in terms of how expensive it is to make games. And they've been underpriced for a long time. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the same people who are decrying the price point for the games are also a lot of the same people who are like, this studio got shut down because they didn't make enough money. It was like, yeah, because there was this team that made an indie game, but it's still like a massive team that put in all that time and effort to make that game. And they still released it out there with a $40 price point to start. And then it was on sale for a lot of its lifespan. So who knows? Maybe they'll bring the prices down. Maybe they'll do a correction like they did with the 3DS when that came out.
The only thing that interested me was the live chat feature.
Yeah.
How you could live chat and play with others, but then I realized that I wouldn't really use that.
We should all get Switch 2s, and then we should do a live chat pod while we're playing Mario Kart.
And then I'll have to quit at some point because I'll feel like growing up.
Do you get motion sickness for all video games?
Pretty much if I stay on too long.
Oh, man. You should try Nathan's VR headset.
Yeah, I think I played Gran Turismo on there, and I wanted to puke after about 2 laps.
Is it only like racing
fun.
games for you that make you want to puke?
It's anything that's kind of like handheld cam based.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I went to watch Cloverfield like years back at the theater, and like after maybe like 30 minutes, I was just like, oh, I can't watch this. Just gotta look down.
Blair Witch Project also made me do that.
Yeah, I guess it's that same camcorder style with the Blair Witch Project.
And I think also like first person shooters
Mm-hmm.
depends like how much like that camera jumps around. It also affects me.
Yeah, the only games I've kind of gotten motion sick on are racing games, but it's under like super extenuating circumstances. It's usually the PlayStation exclusive Wipeout games where you're just racing these high-speed hovercrafts and they're already moving as fast as they are. But then if you're like on the PS Vita and you're watching all this action happen super fast, and then you're also in the passenger seat in a car, so the world is moving around you while you're moving around, that feels terrible. What's also crazy is that they released a version that was compatible with PSVR, and one of the moves that you can do in that game is a barrel roll to get more speed off of a jump. By default, the barrel roll actually spins the camera as if you're in the cockpit of it every time you do it. And if you're trying to play at a higher level, you kind of got to do it all the time. So that feels pretty horrible. On the Switch 2 point about the 4K, I think it is upscaled. I think the word around the street is that they're using an NVIDIA chip with DLSS. So rendering it at a lower resolution, but then upscaling that. But also like allowing that performance to happen by putting a fan in the dock is super ingenious.
Yeah, I felt like they could have done that in the first one.
Yeah, that OG dock kind of sucks.
Sucks very bad. But yeah, now that I think about it, I mean, I just paid $400 for a phone a couple of months ago. I think I can easily swing $450 for a Switch.
I mean, with all the mobile gaming consoles that are out there right now, like the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, a couple of other options, they're all around that price point. And it's smaller than the Steam Deck. It's got some first-party games. It's going to have a lot of games at launch, a lot of indie support, a lot of third-party support. So I'd be very interested in having one. But we'll see about when we can get one, because it was announced today that Nintendo is actually delaying pre-orders in the US because of the tariffs.
Tariffs, you say?
Yes. Tariffs. Tariffs, as they say.
Who would have thought that could affect anything?
We're going to beat that dead horse again? Okay.
Do you feel liberated from fair prices and good deals?
I feel liberated for my money.
They did say the era of cheap stuff was over,
Yes.
which I was like, that's not good. I live on cheap stuff. I'm all about the deals.
I mean, a lot of people do.
Yeah, what's going to happen to slickdeals.net?
I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be tariffs.net. Slicktariffs.net.
Yeah, what's kind of crazy about specifically the Nintendo Switch thing, there was a lot of speculation with the $450 price point and with the game prices that maybe they were trying to price according to upcoming tariffs, but it sounds like that's not the case, that they still want to consider what they're doing with pre-orders with the actual announcement of the tariffs. There was also reporting from, I think it was The Verge, that because of anticipating the tariffs, they actually rush shipped something like 380,000 Nintendo Switch 2 units somewhere in the US. I don't know if it's to Nintendo's headquarters or if it's to retailers, but there are Switch 2s that are out there in the country somewhere that are stockpiled because they didn't want to pay import tariffs whenever they came in.
Oh, so they're already manufactured.
Yeah, at this point, the console's ready to go. You just need to make sure the word's out there. That way you have a good reception on launch day.
Yeah. And they might still do some software updates in the meantime, too.
Interesting. So you think the tariffs are going to be good?
As far as what? For the Switch or just in general?
In general, for the economy, for the long term?
I mean, if you're talking about the biggest tax hike in, over 50 years, if you think that's good, then yes.
But according to Donald Trump, the plan is to bring back the good old days. Factories, manufacturers all over the place.
Racism, slavery.
Yeah, it's just...
But well, was it like Florida that wanted to reduce restrictions on like child labor?
I thought they did reduce them.
They had an election about that.
What? I didn't hear about this.
What was the outcome? Because what they were trying to do is let younger people do like overnight shifts.
Children.
I thought it was like 16 or so. Let's do some research.
The Florida Child Bill Labor Rollback Bill amended to allow some 13-year-olds to work.
13-year-olds?
Yes. Last year passed a policy allowing 16 and 17-year-olds to work 30-hour weeks. And then there are new proposals that allow them to work full-time and ease rules for 14 and 15-year-olds who are enrolled in homeschool, virtual education, or who have already graduated. And their state house has a version of the bill that would allow 13-year-olds to work during the summer or the year they turn 14.
Interesting.
Did you see what these tariffs are actually even based on?
Yes. So it's not based on the tariffs that the other countries give us. It's based on essentially a calculation of the trade deficit with those countries and the number of imports. And that's how they came up with it, because supposedly it's very unfair for us.
I think we're just going to find that we're going to be the only country that doesn't have cheap stuff. And everybody else is going to be enjoying all these low-priced quality items while we're having to pay for all these expensive items that probably suck because they're being made over here.
But would we even get the items here? Because you have to start building new factories.
That's the thing. Are we going to build anything?
I mean, it would take many years. You couldn't just pop up manufacturing overnight.
Yeah, and in that meantime, like people are just gonna buy fewer things that they don't need. So that's gonna affect industries like consumer electronics. It's gonna affect clothing, decor, pretty much anything that you would buy that are not essentials.
Yeah, I think I had read somewhere that supposedly like the Taiwan chips that are being made over there, like they would only cost it would only be 10% more to manufacture them here. But of course, it's already 10% higher cost to the manufacturer, which obviously is going to be probably another like 10 to 20 on top of that. So is it really just 10% more to bring it over here? No, of course not, because they're going to obviously add that onto their price to sell it here.
Well, also considering if they give the workers good wages, then that will also make it more expensive.
I mean, I understand wanting to specifically target China because I feel like a lot of the cheap stuff we get is from China. We have a lot of people who ship out stuff from like Alibaba, Temu, that kind of stuff that's just super cheap stuff. But also, there are questions about labor laws and workers' rights over there and paying fair wages. And that's how that entire system works. So in a way, there's a certain unfairness to how that economy works and people choosing. But there's also like American businesses are choosing to manufacture stuff over there.
Well, if that were the case, then you could just tariff China. Instead, you're tariffing almost everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like random countries that I hadn't heard about in many years.
Isn't it a 10% global on everyone?
10% minimum, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the baseline.
Yeah. And also reducing the de minimis exception, the loophole. Do you know about that?
No.
So basically, some of these countries that might have already had tariffs on them, like China, they will go and either send something through a different country like Indonesia, or do some manufacturing or assembly in Indonesia. So therefore, the product is coming in from Indonesia as a country that's not being tariffed. So that's how they would get around tariffs in those situations. But they're trying to get rid of that too. So no matter what, like if it was involved in the supply line, you get the tariff at the full rate.
Oh, so I guess some of these companies I had heard about, like before Trump had even come in, some companies, I think it was a shoe company, had already shifted some of their manufacturing to a place where they thought it wouldn't be affected. So what you're saying is, and they're not even going to get to escape it either.
Yeah, I have a Yamaha guitar that was made in Indonesia, but it's a Japanese company.
Well, it suggests that this is going to be bad if Ted Cruz is actually saying something. Ted Cruz stated that this is probably going to be bad. It would be great if it's not bad, but if it's bad, then it's going to be a bloodbath for them in the midterms.
Oh, Ted Cruz finally got the ball gag out of his mouth to speak out?
I mean, I guess when they're actually at risk of getting voted out because it's so bad.
Is there any scenario where like Trump's actually right and this works out in our favor?
No. It would take way too long also. And so you'd have all these people that would basically suffer and become bankrupt before this all came to fruition.
Elon said we had to suffer first, so
how long? For 10 years?
I don't know. He just said that it was going to hurt for a little bit.
But we're still looking at higher prices. If we manufacture everything here, we're still looking at higher prices long term.
I don't understand why he has this obsession of bringing jobs back here. It didn't work the first time. It's not going to work this time.
Corporations are still going to find a way to make money, and they're going to decide, let's just make robots.
And what does it matter if they bring manufacturing here? I mean, he just gives everybody big tax cuts anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is the moment when some people may actually change the channel. Remember how I had my moment on the night of the Mitt Romney-Obama election where I was like, wait a minute, let me change the channel because I don't know that you guys are telling me the truth. This might be the moment these next few months because apparently Fox is selling it like everything's fine. Like they're not even showing the stock ticker anymore. They're acting like this is just like some correction. They're downplaying the massive drop in the stock market. And I think that there's only so much you can brainwash people about something like that because then you see your 401k, your IRA, you see the prices, and you're like, wait a minute, this is not true. And that's the point where you change the channel.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute, let me look at some other sources.
Like in terms of like the suffering, like you have a bunch of people who are losing their jobs in the government. There are a lot of companies, even before the election, that were having huge layoffs to begin with. So a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are becoming unemployed and needing to rely on welfare, on unemployment, which I imagine they're also going to try to cut. And while they're on welfare and unemployment, things are going to get more expensive. It's fucked up.
Let's remember that Donald Trump said that he was going to lower prices on day one.
Bullshit. Lie. Not done.
Yes. Let's remember that he was going to decrease energy prices by 50% after 1 year, which I don't think that's on track either. He's clearly a liar and doesn't know what he's doing. And so people are already starting to see that.
They should have seen it the first time.
What do you mean the first time? His first term?
Yeah.
Some people did not understand that the first term he was regulated by advisors, by cabinet members who had guts, who had principles, who were normal.
My balls.
And then now it's an administration, and we said this was going to be the case, an administration of a bunch of people who just kiss his ass.
I mean, was he really regulated in the first one? Now you have Mitch McConnell actually acting the way he probably thought during that whole term and the way he acted during Biden's term. And now that he's not up for re-election, he's like, no, like I'm not for anything this man does.
I don't understand Mitch McConnell, though, because remember, he had the opportunity to impeach and convict him, and he did not get him convicted.
What's there to understand? Everybody that flipped the script to endorse Trump after the fact, after all this shit they talked about him, just wants to stay in office. That's all it is. And McConnell retiring shows you exactly that. So I tell people, like, just pay attention to Mitch McConnell. This guy, like, supported Trump the whole time he was there when he was seeking re-election. The second he knows, like, I'm done, I'm not going to be here anymore, he doesn't care what Donald Trump says, because what are they going to do to him? He's not coming back.
I mean, again, we should not have people in office who are not willing to do things just because of the re-election chances. Like, don't be there. Don't run for office and don't be there if that's how you're going to be.
Well, I don't get why we have term limits on the president, and I've said this before on the pod, but we have no term limits on all these people in Congress.
So you're saying we should come up with a bill in Congress?
I've said this 1,000 times. I mean, that's how you stop the corruption. They're crying about draining the swamp, but you want people just loyal to you, you're going to stay with them forever. They're not going to look for a new candidate. They're just going to go with somebody that does what Trump says.
I think it's funny on the point of prices and the stock market and everything that mortgage rates are slightly down and people are celebrating that. It's like, yeah, a lot of things might go a little bit down because no one can afford them.
Yeah. Like people are so financially screwed that they don't want to really buy homes right now. So they're not buying homes, and that's why the rate's going down.
I mean, maybe gas prices will go down because no one wants to drive. No one wants to go on these summer trips because they're reining in their budget.
I feel like there was a early victory lap when the prices of gas started to go down. And then all of a sudden, like all the other bad stuff started to happen. They didn't talk about gas or eggs because now they're worried.
How much do eggs cost over there now?
I would have to research this because I am not the main grocery shopper in my home.
I don't really buy eggs very often. I keep them there for 6 months.
So out of touch.
Because I don't buy a lot of eggs?
Yeah, not even knowing the price of eggs.
I mean, I eat eggs, but I don't eat them very often.
A cage-free large white eggs, 12 count is $4.43 currently.
It looks like the cheapest option is $4.14 for a dozen.
Has that come down for you?
Well, yeah, it's come down, but I mean, I guess everybody else knows it's a whole supply and demand issue. Nobody was buying the eggs at the higher price.
I feel like even meat's expensive right now, too.
Well, things are not going to get cheaper. So the inflation story was a lie, that he was just going to fix it. It's not going to be fixed. It's going to get worse. And some things may go down, at least for certain periods, just because no one can afford it. Or people are just reining in their budgets, like I said.
Yeah, and in March, the price reached about like $5.72 in Chicago for a dozen.
And what is it now?
I'm trying to find it, but some locations had them like around $8 for a dozen.
Right now?
I don't know. Apparently some places, not here, but some places in California have it for like $13 a dozen. That bird flu, though.
I don't think we've heard about bird flu in a couple of pods now.
Well, it's just still going on.
It's barely April of this administration. He's not really fixed anything. Ukraine-Russia war is still ongoing. He's creating a disaster with the stock market. Everyone around the world is spooked. Inflation's going to go up. Mark Cuban was telling people to just go ahead and stock up on some consumables like toothpaste and soaps and things because he anticipates that that's going to all go up. Maybe just buy things that you can store because later on it's going to be a lot more expensive.
I don't know. What products that you used to buy on the regular do you think you will miss and tell your grandchildren about? Like, I remember when so-and-so cost this much, but then 2025 election happened and now we don't buy those things anymore.
Don't buy them anymore or just are careful about the spending? Because I was buying toothpaste So I feel like I would continue to buy that. I bought toilet bowl cleaner. I bought some body wash, Tide Pods, stuff like that.
I feel like it's going to be deodorant. I'm just going to be like, well, I don't need this anymore. It's too expensive.
Just all the time, like, you stink. I was like, blame the president, man. Like,
Be like, I want to be European, sir.
Tariffs, man.
It's going to be bad, man. Like we said, it was going to be. And it doesn't seem like he's going to walk it back because he's very much wanting these tariffs to stick, to make money for us and get us back to the golden age.
At some point, he can't take them off. He gives tax cuts that were so massive, he needs to get that revenue for the government to run.
But we're not going to get the revenue that he needs. And then people's prices are going to be so high, like, doesn't matter what tax cut you get.
Yeah, but they don't care about us. I mean, he's still going to be fine. Ultimately, this is going to be a giant failure, but not to him or to the billionaires that invested in him.
So what are the Republicans thinking now? The ones that are always about how they're Republican mostly because of lower taxes.
I mean, there's going to be lower taxes, so I'm sure they're happy.
They'd be happy even if eggs cost $10.
I'm telling you that these people are just going to ignore the fact that everything costs more money. All they want to see is that their paycheck is larger because less taxes got taken out. And in their mind, as long as they get to decide where that money goes before the government takes it, it's a win.
I feel like I'd be poorer still if the prices are so high.
Yes, but you're answering this question based on your mentality. I'm telling you what other people think. I know it doesn't make any sense. I'm very aware of this, but I'm telling you, that's what people think.
Well, first of all, we have no confirmation that we're definitely going to get lower taxes for lower income people that are under 150K.
Well, I mean, I've heard some people that are already pretty upset because he ran on no taxes on overtime, right? That hasn't happened. No taxes on tips. That hasn't happened. I feel like he always made it seem like executive orders could do these things really quickly. And those being campaign promises hasn't delivered.
Well, some of those things have to be through the Congress.
I also think he can't afford to actually do that. That's more lost revenue.
would you rather cut jobs?
I'm not sure if you should hire a businessman who had 6 bankruptcies. That's a red flag, sir.
Well, if you hang out around the Fox News comments, he's still more successful than you.
I mean, I guess. So I don't know how that happened. I don't know in what world I could have 6 bankruptcies and continue to make money.
I don't know. It's a very strange situation. And until people get their heads out of their rear end, they're going to enjoy it. They're still having fun with this. They think it's great.
Do they not have a 401k or IRA or what?
They do not.
Oh, okay, because there's a lot of losses there in the last 2 days. Like a lot. It's really bad. Some stocks are like halved from where they were just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but that's not important. The border's secure now. We're safe.
I didn't feel unsafe before.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same as before. I wasn't worried about these things.
Of course, like, you need to be smart about what you do. If you're out there at 10 p.m. at night as a 12-year-old, bad things could happen to you, whether it's an illegal immigrant or a citizen.
Yeah, there are still serial killers out there.
Yes, and they could be illegal or they could be a citizen.
Yeah, there's probably a Dexter out there.
Who's killing the serial killers? So we're actually all good.
It's probably Donald Trump. He's Dexter.
How does he have the time? That's why he doesn't know anything. When people ask him about the Signal chat, he's like, oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. They ask him about some executive order that he signed. He's like, oh, I don't know. So he's too busy just killing serial killers. That's why.
That's literally how he's draining the swamp, just killing everybody.
Speaking of not knowing things, I was reading some articles before the pod, and they said that Trump doesn't know anything and that he basically doesn't understand economics, which I've been saying the whole time. Both Trump and Elon do not understand economics. This is plain. This is clear. Like, it's so obvious to someone who's ever taken an economics class.
I guess when you have so much money or just have the experience of having so much money that it actually doesn't matter how much anything costs, it's just hard to conceptualize of it.
That's why he was talking about groceries again, saying, I don't know, this word groceries, it's like things that they put in a bag.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That was an actual thing?
You didn't see
No.
that?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Was this Trump?
Yes. He doesn't know like how to live a regular life. It's so quaint to him that these people are talking about this word grocery.
What's a grocery? I just have people that just like shovel like duck confit into my mouth off of a bronze plate.
That's like that whole Mariah Carey thing where she was like, "Oh, electricity's free." So the guy's like, "What? We got to pay for that."
What was that?
There's an interview. That's like out of touch she was. Like, I guess she doesn't actually have to pay the bill. She has accountants and stuff. She's like, "Oh, electricity's free here." The guy was like, "No, it's not."
Some people get to the point where they have so much money that mistakes don't really bother them in terms of the ability to have a home and to pay their bills and eat and take care of their health care. So then, like, they don't really know how to deal with any real complexity.
Do you think there's like a threshold for that? Do you think you have to be a millionaire or like a billionaire?
I don't think there's a threshold for that because even for me at this point in my life, like I don't really care about what I pay for anything. Like I'm able to do it at this point. I mean, I know there's like things that obviously would not affect a millionaire if they happen to me, but I don't think there's really a threshold. I think if you make enough money and you're smart about it, I mean, most things are just like, I can deal with this. It doesn't affect me.
So yeah, I just threw my cell phone off of a water tower. I can just go buy a new one.
Yeah, but I think we're talking about a point where like you don't understand economics at all. Like you don't understand that electricity costs something. You don't understand what a grocery store is.
I think that's going to have to be like if you make, let's say,
100 million.
Yeah, 100 million. You don't even deal with that. That bill is insignificant. It's like probably like a 0.00% of your income.
You also just hire people to do everything, right? Like someone to buy my food, and I don't even want to think about what you buy. Just buy what I want, plan my meals, get a chef, like whatever.
So the laundry just does itself.
Like, how does this machine work?
Well, apparently Elon Musk might finally be tired of this anyway, because like his business has gone down so much. He's supposedly looking forward to that 130 days that he can work there since he's only like a special
Employee.
What was it called?
Special government employee or something.
Yeah, special government employee because I mean, like it's going horrible for him.
Is it him though? Because I had read reports that it's more like Trump is kind of wanting him out now, especially with how the Wisconsin election went. How he actually didn't really help the candidate there.
I'm sure Trump wants him out as well. He's tired of answering questions, having to be a car salesman on the White House lawn. It gets kind of tiring. And plus, Trump loves himself. Like he's tired of talking about Elon, I imagine.
How much commission do you think Trump got on that lawn sale?
I'm gonna guess a handy with the reach around.
Terrible.
I mean, maybe that's what keeps Elon around. Maybe he has excellent technique.
I feel like if Elon had won that Wisconsin election, things would be different. I think Donald Trump hates losers, and that didn't look good when Elon was throwing all this money there and making a huge effort there, and then they lost by 10 points.
I mean, if he hates losers, why doesn't he hate himself, though?
I mean, he's a narcissist. He thinks he's the greatest thing of all time. He's always saying that. I mean, come on. Like, even his supporters act like narcissistic now.
Well, I don't know if it's because I got really mad the last time my friends talked about how great everything was, but they haven't brought him up in a long time. So I'm hoping it's because things are actually bad. Not just because they're afraid that I'm going to get in a fight with them.
I think you should ask them.
Why? Why?
I'm just kidding.
I mean, a few more drinks, I might ask anybody anything.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see if it stops us from buying that Nintendo Switch 2 and all those sweet new games. But we'll keep an eye on it. If you find that you're also kind of frustrated and you thought that this wasn't the deal. This wasn't what we signed up for, we're here to listen. We're not here to call you a moron or tell you that we told you so. I'm looking at Ada right now. Because I know the temptation is great with her, but
because her face literally looks like I fucking told you.
No, we're just here to help. Try to connect those Tejanos back to reality because the internet is a wild place and we learn a lot of things that are not true and things that will harm us sometimes, even though they're being advertised as things that will be better for us. So watch out for yourselves. Watch out for each other. Watch out for new episodes of this pod. Weekdays at 7 p.m.
Yeah, and don't take ivermectin for your cancer.
Yeah, you will die. Not of the ivermectin, but of the cancer that you're actually not treating.
That is correct.
Rate the pod 5 stars. You can actually comment on the pod if you have anything to say to us, positive or negative. You know, we welcome bots commenting on our pod as well.
Hopefully negative
Yes,
from Vladimir.
Hopefully negative. We're destroying the Russian plot. Foiled again.
I just say negative so we can improve.
The Russia listens have ticked up again.
They know.
Well, there you go. We got to say Russia every 5 minutes from now on.
Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia. Find us on iHeart, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast fix. Email the mailbag at casadecavasospod@gmail.com. Follow us on Blue Sky, and there will be a website at some point. So we'll give you an announcement. See you later.
Until next time.
Glorious